Stop, don't scroll. Your soul has been in a state of high alert for weeks and you thought it was just anxiety. It isn't. It is a signal from the heavens. I have been sent to show you exactly why the spiritual alarm is ringing in your house today and what is about to be demanded of you. You are carrying a weight that doesn't belong to the common man, and because you were chosen for a higher frequency, the enemy has decided to attack you not in your faith but in your fatigue. There is a specific silence that has taken over your life lately. It's a heavy, cold winter in your spirit. You pray, but it feels like your words are hitting a ceiling made of brass. You look for a sign, but all you find is a recurring exhaustion that 10 hours of sleep cannot resolve. This is not a medical condition. This is the heavy chest of the chosen one. It is the physical manifestation of a spiritual seal that is being tested. You wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing, your mind flooded with problems you cannot solve in the dark, and you feel like a sentinel guarding a door that you don't even know how to lock. You have been trapped in the repeated dead end. You make a decision under pressure. You think you've finally learned the lesson, only to discover weeks later that you've fallen into the exact same trap from 2 years ago. It's as if there is a fog over your discernment, a mist that keeps you walking in circles while the clock of your destiny keeps ticking. And the most painful part, the part you don't tell anyone at church, is the silent dinner. You put your hand on the doorknob of your home and a weight descends on your shoulders. You love your spouse, you love your children, but entering your own house feels like the start of a second shift of battle instead of a refuge. You are present in body, but your soul is miles away, trying to survive the weariness. Your children look at you and they see a survivor, not the governor God called you to be. I am here because God wants to give you a diagnosis that will finally make the silence make sense. First, I will reveal why the last 3 months felt like this silent winter. You are not being ignored. You are being prepared for a weight of glory you cannot yet carry. Second, I will deliver to you a single word in ancient Hebrew, a word that acted as a seal for King Solomon himself. When you hear the third meaning of this word, you will understand exactly why your physical strength has been failing you. And finally, I will declare 3 specific names over your life, not a generic blessing, but a commission that will shift the atmosphere of your bedroom and your family table tonight. If you leave before the third name, you leave without the seal. And about this exact exhaustion, the one that follows you from the office to your kitchen table, there is an instrument that Solomon left recorded in the ancient codes. I will show it to you in a few moments. It is called the Code of Solomon's Wisdom. Keep it in the back of your mind. It is the key to closing the door on this fatigue and reclaiming the territory of your peace. I see 5 signs in you right now. You are the midnight sentinel, waking up while the world sleeps because your spirit is trying to VG a breach. You are the fading mirror, looking at yourself and wondering where the brilliance of 5 years ago went. You carry the threshold weight every time you walk into your home. You are lost in the fog of decision, hesitating where you once ruled. And you are stuck in the recurring pattern, watching things break at the last second just as you're about to prosper. If you recognize the weight on your chest, I want you to stop and type "I am chosen" in the comments right now. This is not for me. It is a decree of positioning. It is your spirit telling the atmosphere that you have recognized the signal. In 3 minutes, I will tell you the exact Hebrew word that King Solomon whispered when he felt his strength leaving him and the kingdom at risk. It is the word that authenticates the chosen. Don't move. The alarm is ringing for a reason, and the answer is not in your effort. It is in the seal. Stay with me. Stop. Don't scroll. Your soul has been in a state of high alert for weeks, and you thought it was just anxiety. It isn't. It is a signal from the heavens, a burning alarm that has been ringing in the corridors of your spirit while you try to maintain a normal face for the world. I have been sent as a messenger to show you exactly why this spiritual alarm is ringing in your house today and what is about to be demanded of your strength. You are carrying a weight that doesn't belong to the common man, and because you were chosen for a higher frequency, the enemy has decided to attack you not in your faith, but in your fatigue. You have been living with what I call the heavy chest of the chosen one. It is that specific exhaustion that 10 hours of deep sleep cannot resolve, because it wasn't physical effort that produced it. You wake up at 3 in the morning with your heart racing, your mind flooded with lists of problems you cannot solve in the dark, and you feel like a sentinel guarding a door that you don't even know how to lock. It is a state of permanent high alert, a physical manifestation of a spiritual seal that is currently being tested by the atmosphere of the winter you are walking through. Look at your recent decisions, the ones that felt right for a moment, but left a bitter taste the next morning. You are trapped in a repeated dead end, making choices under pressure because you can no longer wait for the clarity that used to be your natural compass. It is as if a fog has descended over your discernment, a mist that keeps you walking in circles while the clock of your destiny keeps ticking. You diagnose the error. You promise yourself you won't repeat it. Yet 3 weeks later, you find yourself facing the exact same trap you thought you had escaped 2 years ago. But the most painful layer is the one that happens when you reach for your doorknob at the end of the day. It is the silent dinner. You love your family, you would die for them, but entering your own home feels like starting a second shift of battle instead of entering a refuge. Your spouse has learned to stop asking how your day was, because they can read the answer in the heavy silence you carry through the hallway. Your children look at you, and they see a survivor, someone who is present in body, but miles away in soul, trying to survive the weight that the world has placed upon you. In the next few minutes, I am going to give you a diagnosis that will finally make this long silence make sense. I will show you exactly where you have been standing for the last few months, not in general terms, but in a way that you will recognize the specific nights and the specific conversations that led you to this brink. You are not being ignored by the heavens. You are being prepared for a weight of glory that your current structure cannot yet carry. And recognizing the stage of your preparation is the first step to ending the exhaustion. I will deliver to you a single word in ancient Hebrew, a word that acted as a royal seal for King Solomon himself when he was surrounded by those who wanted his crown. When you hear the third meaning of this word, you will understand exactly why your physical strength has been failing you and why your prayers have felt like they were hitting a ceiling made of brass. This is a concrete delivery that will happen within this video, a decoding of what was sealed over your life before you even knew you were being watched by the enemy. At the very end of our time together, I will declare 3 specific names over your life. These are not generic blessings or empty words. They are names of identity and commission that were registered in the books of heaven regarding your lineage. When these names are spoken, they will shift the atmosphere of your bedroom and your family table tonight. You will go from being a weary soldier to being a bearer of a decree, and the peace that has been absent from your home will find a reason to return to its rightful place. If you leave this video in the middle, you leave without the final sealing and without the declaration of your true names. I do not promise that your bank account will overflow by tomorrow morning, but I do promise that if you stay until the end, you will leave with an instrument in your hand and a clarity in your spirit that the world cannot take away. The signal was sent to you today for a reason, and if you ignore the messenger, you risk losing the decree that was opened in your favor. Stay with me until the very last word is spoken. Think of your life right now as a seed caught in the middle of a brutal winter. Above the ground, there is nothing but hard, frozen dirt and a biting wind that seems to scream that your time has passed. To the casual observer, there is no life there, only the silence of something that has been buried and forgotten. You feel the cold, you feel the darkness, and you feel the pressure of the earth pressing down on you from every side, trying to convince you that this grave is your final destination. But what you cannot see from inside the darkness is that you weren't buried by an accident. You were planted by hands that knew exactly what you were capable of becoming. A seed in winter isn't dying. It is concentrating its core, protecting the blueprint of the harvest that is already written in its DNA. The ground is hard because it is protecting you from the predators that roam the surface, and the silence is there so you can finally hear the sound of your own roots, growing deep into the ancient wisdom that sustains the chosen. The reason you are so exhausted is not that you have been fighting the wrong battles, but that you have been fighting without the instrument that was promised to you. You are like a builder, trying to align a palace using only your eyes, instead of using the architect's compass. You have been using your own willpower to hold up a structure that was meant to be sustained by a royal decree. You haven't been fighting poorly, you have simply been fighting unarmed, and the toll it has taken on your soul is visible to everyone but you. If you can feel the truth of these words vibrating in your spirit right now, if you recognize the heavy chest and the silent dinner as the story of your last few months, I want you to stop and type, "I am here" in the comments below. This is not for engagement. It is a decree of positioning in the spiritual realm. It is you telling the atmosphere that the sentinel is awake and that you are ready to receive the seal that has been sent to your house today. Do it now, as an act of positioning before we move forward. King Solomon, the wisest man to ever walk the earth, knew exactly what it felt like to have a throne but no peace, to have a calling but be surrounded by exhaustion. He didn't just pray for wisdom, he recorded the practical codes of how to maintain that wisdom in the middle of the daily battle. I have gathered these ancient principles into a guide I call the Code of Solomon's Wisdom. It is the instrument that bridges the gap between the promise you received and the peace you need at your kitchen table. Keep that name in your mind. We will return to Solomon's instrument in a moment, but before that, we must address the burning alarm that brought you here. You have been living in a state of survival, but survival is the lowest frequency of the chosen. God did not call you to just make it through the week. He called you to govern the atmosphere of your own life. To do that, you need more than just a feeling. You need to understand the mechanism of the seal that is currently melting under the heat of your trials. But tell me, what happens to a seed that everyone thought was dead? A seed that no one watered and no one believed in, but that refuses to stop growing in the middle of the frozen ground? What happens when the ground finally cracks, and what emerges is not a fragile sprout, but an ancient tree that was already fully formed in the mind of the planter? You are about to find out, because the winter of your spirit is reaching its final hour and the sun is beginning to hit the frost. Everything you have experienced until this second has been a preparation for a single revelation. The alarm in your house is about to be replaced by the sound of a heavy iron key turning in a lock that has been stuck for years. We are moving now to the part that the enemy hoped you would never discover, the name of the exception that was opened in the heavens because of your cry today. Prepare your heart, because when I speak the Hebrew word of your identity, the fog over your decisions will begin to clear. Between the burning alarm ringing in your spirit today and the quiet strength of the chosen one standing firm at the kitchen table, there is an interval. Between the signal you just received from the heavens and the actual manifestation of peace in your house, there is a gap that the enemy knows better than you do. It is in this specific interval that most of the chosen lose what was granted to them. Not because the decree was revoked, but because you arrived home on Monday morning and did not have the instrument to sustain the weight of the royal seal you carry. The signal was sent, but the oil leaked through the cracks of your exhaustion. Solomon was the wisest man to ever walk the earth. And this isn't just a title, it is a biblical record signed by God himself. When he had the chance to ask for anything at all, he didn't ask for riches or the heads of his enemies. He asked for wisdom. God was so moved that he gave him the wisdom and everything else along with it. Solomon judged the dispute of the two mothers when no one else knew how. He wrote 3,000 proverbs. He governed Israel at a historical peak never seen before or since. The Queen of Sheba traveled for months just to test this wisdom, and she said not even half had been told. Even Jesus cited Solomon by name. And he didn't take this wisdom to the grave. He left it recorded with a surgical precision that has crossed 3,000 years without losing its edge. He left recorded exactly how to stop falling for the same traps that break the seal of your peace every month, so that you stop being surprised by the same patterns that have been draining your spiritual strength. He left recorded how to walk into your home not as a weary soldier, but as a king whose presence brings an immediate seal of protection over your spouse and children, so that your family finally feels guarded, needing you not as a wall of silence, but as a harbor of peace. And he left recorded how to carry yourself with the authority of the Bakir, knowing exactly when to speak and when to seal your lips, so that you stop deciding in the heat of pain and start walking with the architect's compass in your hand. I have gathered this into a guide called the Code of Solomon's Wisdom. It is in the first pinned comment right below this video. It is the union of the wisdom of Proverbs with the principles of peaceful restoration, taking a person out of the state of survival and bringing them into the state of clarity and royal decree. Solomon wrote it. I organized it for the common day you are living right now, this very week. Along with the main guide, I have included 2 instruments because without them the guide would have a void. The first is the ritual of the righteous sleep. 10 minutes before you go to bed, guided by what David wrote in Psalm 4:8. I will both lay me down in peace and sleep, for thou, Lord, only makest me dwell in safety. This isn't a modern relaxation technique. It is the act of handing over to the guard of him who never sleeps everything you carried throughout the day, so that your soul stops doing a night shift over the problems that are already in the hands of someone who doesn't need you awake to defend what is yours. The second is the awakening of clarity. The 7 morning decrees. 5 minutes upon waking up, before your phone, before your coffee, before the first message the world tries to write into you. 7 decrees pronounced in your own voice, taken from the wisdom of Proverbs, that position the day before the day tries to position you. This is the posture of an heir before the calendar and the routine speak for you. To start the day as someone who was called, not as someone who was crushed before 8 in the morning. And the value, it is less than a Starbucks coffee in the afternoon. It is less than a simple Sunday lunch with your family. It is less than a tank of gas to drive to church on Sunday. I set it at this value on purpose, not because it is worth little. It is worth what Solomon left recorded for 3,000 years. I set it at this value so that the only obstacle between you and the instrument would be your decision to reach out your hand. Not the price, not the schedule, just your hand toward the link. And there is a guarantee of 7 days. If you open it, use it for a week, and it doesn't serve you, you send an email and receive your money back in full. And here is the part that no one else does. You keep the 2 bonus instruments. The ritual of the righteous sleep stays with you. The awakening of clarity, the 7 morning decrees stays with you, even after the refund. This is the recognition that the risk of testing must not be yours. The risk is ours. The only risk left for you is the risk of not testing. And that is the risk of leaving here with a decree open in the heavens and losing it tomorrow morning for lack of an instrument. The next night you lay your head on the pillow with your soul still on high alert is not months away. It is tonight, perhaps 3 hours from now. The next morning you wake up thinking about battles you haven't solved. Starting the day at a disadvantage is tomorrow, perhaps in 6 hours. The next time your family receives you discharging the weight the world put on you is tomorrow evening. Every night without the ritual of the righteous sleep is a night your body will pay for. Every morning without the awakening of clarity, the 7 morning decrees, is a morning the world rewrites first. Every day without the code of Solomon's wisdom is a day your home feels the weight. The cost of delaying is not 0, but do not leave now. The ceiling is not yet finished. What I need to show you next is greater than any instrument Solomon left recorded. It is the Hebrew name of what is happening to you at this very moment, the name of the exception that was opened in the heavens because of what you did today. And when you hear this name, you will understand why everything up to this point was preparation for a single word: stay. You need to understand that the chaos you are witnessing in your routine is not a sign of abandonment, but a validation of your election. The heavens do not waste their signals on common men. They only ring the burning alarm in the houses of those who carry a royal seal on their forehead. What you have interpreted as a sequence of bad luck or simple mental fatigue is, in reality, the weight of a commission pressing against the limits of your human strength. I will now list 5 specific signs that prove you are in a period of spiritual waiting, a time where your identity is being forged in the silence of the earth. Listen closely, because each of these pains is actually a marker of who you were born to be. The first sign is the midnight sentinel. You find yourself waking up between 3 and 4 in the morning, night after night, with your mind immediately flooded with problems that cannot be solved in the dark. It isn't medical insomnia, it is your spirit being summoned to the watchtower because there is a breach in the spiritual walls of your house that needs to be sealed. You feel a restlessness that no pill can quiet, a sense that you must stand guard over something you cannot even see. This alert is the first proof that the heavy chest you feel is the call of a sentinel whose soul is trying to vigil a territory that the enemy is desperately trying to invade while you sleep. The second sign is the fog of decision. You, who used to be sharp and decisive, now feel like you are walking through a thick mist every time a choice needs to be made. You hesitate over simple answers. You second-guess your intuition. And most painfully, you find yourself falling into the same repeated dead ends you thought you had escaped years ago. It is as if your spiritual compass has been demagnetized by the pressure of the winter. This confusion isn't a loss of intelligence. It is the enemy trying to erode your authority by making you doubt the very discernment that once made you a governor. The fog is there to hide the path that Solomon once walked with the architect's compass. The third and most dangerous sign is the threshold wait. It happens the moment you put your hand on the doorknob of your own home. You love your spouse and your children more than life itself. Yet entering your house feels like starting a second shift of battle instead of entering a harbor of peace. A heavy silence has installed itself at your dinner table, the silent dinner. Your spouse has learned to stop asking how your day was, and your children see a survivor who is present in body but miles away in soul. You aren't being cold, you are simply carrying a weight so massive that you don't know how to set it down, and your home is paying the price for a war they didn't ask to fight. The fourth sign is the fading mirror. You look at your reflection and struggle to find the person who had fire in their eyes 5 years ago. Your physical body is showing the wear of a war that has no front lines, and your brilliance seems to be dimmed by a layer of grey exhaustion. You see resources leaking through points you cannot identify, and your energy seems to evaporate before the day even begins. This isn't just aging. It is the spirit of wear-out, trying to drain your oil before you reach the throne. The enemy knows he cannot stop the decree, so he tries to make the bearer of the decree too tired to even remember their own name. The fifth sign is the recurring pattern. You feel like you are inches away from a breakthrough, a financial opening, or a family restoration, but something breaks at the very last second. It is the almost that haunts your dreams. You do everything right. You follow the instructions, and yet the lock remains stuck. This silence as a response to your cries is the final confirmation that you are in the pressure chamber. You aren't being rejected, you are being compressed. The heavens are silent, not because they are absent, but because the planter is waiting for the seed to reach the exact point of internal transformation before the first sprout is allowed to break through the frozen ground of your winter. If you have felt the weight of these 5 markers, if the silent dinner or the midnight sentinel described exactly what happened in your house last night, I want you to stop right now. Do not just watch this as a spectator. Type "I carry what no one else carries" in the comments below. This is a decree of recognition in the spiritual realm. By typing this, you are authenticating your own called state and telling the atmosphere that the sentinel is awake. You are telling the adversary that you have deciphered the signal and that you no longer believe the lie that this is just anxiety. You carry a seal, and once you name the weight, it begins to lose its power to crush you. I haven't told you the most important thing yet. There is a single word in ancient Hebrew that defines exactly the state of your soul right now. It is a word that King Solomon whispered when the weight of the crown felt like a mountain and the traps of his enemies seemed inescapable. When I reveal this word in a few minutes, you will never look at this period of your life the same way again. The confusion will turn into a map, and the exhaustion will be revealed as the heat necessary to forge your royal identity. Stay with me, because your understanding of the Ba Kir is the only thing that can break the fog over your decisions and reclaim the territory of your peace. You must understand the metaphor of the pressure chamber. Every diamond was once a piece of coal that decided not to give up under the weight of the mountain. You are currently in the depths of the earth, where the heat is unbearable and the silence is absolute. This pressure is not meant to destroy you. It is meant to squeeze out the impurities of the common man so that only the clarity of the chosen one remains. The heavy chest is the physical sensation of the mountain pressing down on you to create the most valuable stone in the king's treasury. You are being prepared for a weight of glory that requires a structure of steel, and the fire is your forge. Before I hand you the Hebrew name of what you are carrying, I must give you a crucial warning. King Solomon, who governed the peak of Israel's history, didn't just rely on his title. He left recorded an instrument, the one I mentioned at the very beginning of this message, to help the chosen sustain their seal in the middle of the daily battle. The instrument, the Code of Solomon's Wisdom, does not replace the name you are about to receive, but it is what allows you to hold that name high when the world tries to drag you back to the silent dinner. The order is sacred. First, you receive the name to understand who you are. Then you receive the instrument to protect that identity. We are now reaching the moment of the great unlocking. The burning alarm in your house is about to be silenced by the sound of a heavy iron key turning in a lock that has been stuck for generations. You have identified the signs, you have positioned your spirit, and now the heavens are ready to decode the signal that brought you to this video. What happens next is not for the curious. It is for the one who is truly thirsty, for the restoration of their peace and the authentication of their call. In the next few seconds, I will speak the word that Solomon used to seal his house against the fog of war. Prepare your heart. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Place your hand over your chest, right where you have felt that burning alarm ringing for far too long. Feel the weight of your heart, not as an organ of fatigue, but as the throne room of a king. You have spent months trying to decipher the signal of your own exhaustion, wondering if the royal seal on your destiny was melting under the heat of the spiritual winter. But the silence you are experiencing is not emptiness. It is a sacred, unlocked vault being opened in your favor. I told you I would give you the name of what you carry, and as you breathe in now, you are preparing to receive the frequency of your true identity. The air you breathe is the fuel for the decree that is about to be spoken over your house. There is a word in ancient Hebrew that acts as the heavy iron key to the spirit. That word is Ba-Kar. Say it softly in your mind, Ba-Kar. To the world, this word might simply mean the chosen, like someone picked at random from a crowd. But in the language of the heavens, the meaning is far more surgical. Bakir does not just mean selected. It means the one who has been scrutinized, tested, and found authentic in the middle of the furnace. It is the chosen one who has walked through the fire and emerged with the royal seal still intact on their forehead. It is the sentinel who stood watch when the fog was thickest and did not abandon their post, even when the strength of the common man would have failed. When King Solomon felt the cold sweat of a major decision, he did not look for a common consensus. He looked for his Bakir status. He knew that to be the chosen one meant his life would be a constant process of refinement, a sequence of tests designed to authenticate the call. The heavy chest you feel is the pressure of the Bakir being formed within you. It is the heat required to turn the coal of your survival into the diamond of your government. You thought the enemy was winning because you were tired, but the enemy was actually terrified because you were becoming Bakir. You were being verified in the silence of a house where peace seemed to have left, only to make room for a deeper, unshakable authority. This identity is anchored in the very breath of God, recorded in the ancient scriptures as a legal contract that the adversary cannot break. The word says in Psalm 89 verse 3, "I have made a covenant with my chosen. I have sworn unto David my servant." Notice that God does not make covenants with the comfortable or the stagnant. He makes them with the Bakir. He makes them with those who have been proven in the field of battle and the silence of the winter. When you understand that you are the Bakir, you realize that the burning alarm in your spirit is actually the sound of the covenant being activated. It is the architect's compass being handed back to you so you can finally seal the breach in your family's walls. You must accept this truth. This period of your life has a name before it has an end. You have been calling it the struggle, the burnout, or the silence. But the heavens call it the Bakir season. It is the time of the unlocked vault, where the gold of your character is being weighed. Every decision that felt like a repeated dead end was actually a test of your spiritual key. Now that you know the name of the seal you carry, the fog of decision must begin to lift from your eyes. You are no longer guessing your way through the labyrinth of your routine. You are walking as the one who has been approved by the king to reclaim the territory that was stolen while you were asleep. The silent dinner at your table is about to change because the bearer of the royal seal has finally found their voice. You are the baker of your lineage, the one sent to decipher the signal that was hidden from your ancestors for generations. When you walk into your home tonight, you aren't just a weary soldier returning from a shift. You are the sentinel whose watch has been authenticated by the heavens. The irritation and the exhaustion are melting away like old wax making way for the heavy iron key of authority to turn in the lock of your family's peace. Your house will no longer be a place of survival, but the headquarters of a divine decree that brings order to the chaos. Remember the seed in the middle of the brutal winter. People looked at the frozen ground and saw nothing but death, but the seed was becoming Bakir in the dark. It was protecting the blueprint of the harvest, while the frost tried to kill its hope and its purpose. You are that seed, and the sun is finally hitting the soil of your destiny. The pressure you felt wasn't a burial, it was the weight of the crown being fitted to your soul. You have been refined, scrutinized, and approved by the planter himself. The winter didn't break you, it only stripped away what wasn't Bakir, leaving only the eternal structure of the chosen one who is ready to rule. Now that you know the name of what you carry, now that the frequency of Bakir is vibrating in your chest, you must realize that you aren't the first to carry this weight. Someone stood where you are standing long before the first stone of the temple was laid. Someone felt the same cold sweat and heard the same spiritual alarm ringing in their house while the world mocked their calling. And what happened to them when they finally used the architect's compass to build their life is the exact map of what is about to happen in your home starting tomorrow morning. I promise to come back to this, and it is time. Because knowing your name is only half the battle, knowing the history of your seal is what changes everything. Stay. You are walking a path that was paved with the gold of an ancient struggle. Long before you felt the burning alarm in your chest, King Solomon stood in the middle of a palace that felt like a cage. He wasn't just the son of a king, he was the Bakir, the one chosen to carry a weight of glory that his brothers desperately wanted to steal. He heard the spiritual alarm ringing in the corridors of Jerusalem while everyone else was feasting. He knew that being chosen wasn't a ticket to comfort, but a summons to a high-frequency watch that the common man could never understand. There was a moment when the crown was within reach, but the fog of war was thick. Adonijah, his own flesh and blood, had already declared himself king, and the atmosphere in the city was one of betrayal and confusion. Solomon didn't have the luxury of waiting for a sign. He was living in the interval between the promise given to his father and the reality of the throne. He felt the cold sweat before the major decision, knowing that one wrong move would break the seal of his destiny and plunge the nation into darkness. He stood where you are standing, between the signal and the manifestation. But watch his wisdom in action. Solomon didn't just weep at the altar, he operated with the precision of a master builder. He used the architect's compass to identify the traitors and the loyalists before the first sunrise of his reign. He understood that to govern a nation, he first had to seal the breaches in his own house. He didn't just ask for wisdom to sound smart. He asked for the practical instrument to organize the chaos into order. He identified the leaks in the treasury and the gaps in the wall with a surgical discernment that left his enemies paralyzed. This was his secret. Solomon was not a passive spectator of his own call. He was a high-frequency receptor, syntonized to a signal that the rebellion could not hear. While Adonijah was making noise, Solomon was making decrees. He was busy building the internal structure that would eventually sustain the most magnificent temple the world had ever seen. He knew that the architect's compass was his most valuable tool, more precious than the gold of Ophir. He used it to navigate the fog of decision and reclaim the territory that had been compromised by his father's old age. You are currently functioning like a receptor that is clogged with the static of the world. The exhaustion you feel is the sound of your spirit trying to find the frequency of the Bakir in a house filled with the noise of survival. You have been trying to build your life using the common man's tools, but you were born for the royal blueprint. Your soul is weary because it is vibrating at a frequency of struggle when it was designed for the frequency of government. The alarm in your house isn't there to scare you. It's there to force you to tune your dial. As we stand in this prophetic moment, I want you to understand that you are not watching this alone. There are thousands of sentinels across the world who are feeling their receptors wake up at this exact second. If this message is clearing the fog from your eyes, I want you to hit the like button right now. Do not see this as a social media gesture. See it as an act of intercession. Each like is another chosen one being syntonized to the royal signal. You aren't doing it for me. You are doing it for the brother or sister whose receptor is still drowned in the static of the silent dinner. Now prepare your spirit. The atmosphere of your room is shifting because the names of your commission are about to be released. These are the titles registered in the unlocked vault regarding your lineage. When I speak them, do not just hear them with your ears. Swallow them with your soul. The seal of your identity is being authenticated right now. You are moving from being a weary survivor to being a commissioned governor of the heavens. The names I declare now are the heavy iron keys that turn the lock of your winter. You are the keeper of the promise. This is your first name. You are the one God has entrusted to keep the flame of the covenant alive in your family, even when the winter is at its coldest. You are the guardian of the oil, the one who refuses to let the lamp go out while the rest of your house is sleeping. The enemy has tried to extinguish your fire through fatigue, but as the keeper, your strength is being renewed from an ancient well that the world cannot see. You are the anchor that holds the promise in place. You are the bearer of the decree. This is your second name. Your words carry a legal weight in the spiritual realm that you have not yet fully realized. When you speak over your children, when you pray over your spouse, it isn't just a wish, it is a royal mandate. You carry the authority to seal the breaches in your walls and to turn the heavy iron key against the spirit of wear-out. As the bearer, you no longer negotiate with the chaos. You command the order of the king to be established in your kitchen and your bedroom. You are sent before the time. This is your third name. You were positioned in your family and your generation as a strategic scout, sent to prepare the ground for the glory that is coming. You are the one who breaks the recurring patterns so that those who come after you can walk on level ground. You have been walking through the fire so that your children won't have to smell the smoke. You are the forerunner, the one whose Bakir status opens the doors that were locked for your ancestors for 100 years. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. The three names are now vibrating in your spirit, syntonizing your receptor to the frequency of the palace. The heavy chest is being replaced by the royal seal. The fog is lifting because the names of the chosen carry a light that the darkness cannot comprehend. You are no longer a victim of the silent dinner. You are the bearer of the decree, whose very presence shifts the atmosphere of the house before a single word is even spoken. But I must warn you, there is a secret about these three names that the enemy is desperate to keep hidden. He doesn't mind if you know your names, as long as you don't know the law of their maintenance, because when you discover this one specific truth, the devil loses the only weapon he has left to use against the keeper and the bearer. There is a reason why these names require a specific instrument to remain bright in the middle of a Monday morning. I'm about to show you why, and when you see it, the last chain of your exhaustion will snap. Stay. You have the names of your identity, but right now you're operating without the strategic battle map. The enemy isn't fighting a fair war. He is fighting a war of attrition against your spirit. He doesn't need to destroy your faith if he can simply drain your stamina until you drop the royal seal in the mud of your own exhaustion. You have been losing ground not because you lack power, but because you have been operating without the layout of the trenches. I am handing you the strategic map of the breaches right now. The architect's compass is pointing to the three specific tactics the adversary is using to leak the oil from your lamp. The first breach is the maze of mirrors. The adversary whispers that you are late. He shows you the success of the common man to make the Bakir feel like a failure. This comparison is a surgical strike against your spiritual timing. It makes you rush where you should wait and hesitate where you should run. It erodes the royal seal by forcing you to look at someone else's map instead of your own blueprint. Your weapon is the decree of singularity. Stop looking at the world's clock and start speaking the king's calendar. Decree right now, my timing is sealed by the one who planted me. When you refuse to compare, the mirrors shatter. The second breach is the erosion of perception. When the heavens go quiet and the silent dinner at your table feels like a tomb, the enemy tells you that God has revoked the decree. He wants you to interpret the king's silence as the king's absence. He tells you that because you cannot hear the music, the celebration of your calling is over. This tactic is designed to make you walk out of the unlocked vault just as the heavy iron key is beginning to turn. Your weapon is the altar memory. You must reach back into the fire of your first encounter. Memory is not nostalgia. It is a legal anchor that seals the breach of rejection. The third and most brutal breach is the erosion of persistence. The enemy saves his heaviest artillery for the 24 hours before your breakthrough. He knows exactly when the ground is about to crack and the sprout of your harvest is about to emerge. He waits until you are at your absolute weakest point, the heavy chest at its peak, and he tells you to lie down and die in the last inch of the marathon. He wants you to quit right before the turn. Your weapon is the last-second resistance. It is the violent act of remaining upright when every muscle in your soul is screaming for you to fall. Solomon did not win the throne by being the strongest, but by being the one who was still standing when the dust of the rebellion settled. You don't need to charge the gates. You simply need to occupy the space of the chosen. Now that you hold the weapons and the strategic map, you must take a position of spiritual alignment. Hit the subscribe button right now as a formal act of positioning your spirit to receive the final commission. This is your registration in the company of the sentinels who refuse to walk unarmed. There is a prayer that must be made now. I will lead you into the center of the flame. Close your eyes now. Place both of your hands over your chest, right where you have carried that burning alarm for so long. Take a deep, slow breath before we continue. Feel the air filling the spaces where exhaustion has resided, and let your spirit settle into this moment of absolute solemnity. We are standing at the threshold of the unlocked vault, and the frequency of the common man is being silenced so that the voice of the King can be heard. Lord, we come before you now in the honesty of our weariness. We confess the weight of the heavy chest, the physical toll of a battle that has no front lines. We confess the frustration of the repeated dead ends, the pain of seeing the same errors return despite our prayers. And we confess the heavy silence of the silent dinner, the grief of being a sentinel who loves their family but no longer knows how to bring peace through the door. We stand here as the Bakir, refined by the winter, ready to receive the seal that was promised. I have seen you in the nights when you stared at the ceiling and the tightness reached you before the first thought even formed. I was there when the burning alarm in your chest would not let you rest, and you felt like a sentinel standing watch without a shield. I saw every tear that fell in the dark when you thought the oil had run dry and the royal seal on your forehead had been forgotten. I was never distant. I was simply waiting for the heat of the furnace to finish the work of the Bakir in you. I have seen you in the decisions made in desperation because the clarity did not arrive in time, and the next morning you woke up with the weight of the error you diagnosed but did not know how to avoid. I saw your spirit cry out for the architect's compass in the middle of the fog, searching for a path that seemed to have vanished. Every repeated dead end was not a punishment, but a pruning, stripping away the tools of the common man so that you would finally reach for the instrument of the palace. I have seen you arriving home, discharging the weight that the world placed upon your shoulders, and I saw your family learn to stop asking how you were. I saw you sitting at that silent dinner, present in body but miles away in soul, mourning the peace that seemed to have fled your house. I saw the look in your children's eyes, and I saw the pain that this silence caused in you. I have seen the burden of the keeper who forgot they were also the beloved, and today I am turning the heavy iron key in the lock of your home. You are the seed that refused to die in the brutal winter, and the ground is now cracking beneath your feet. The pressure that tried to bury you has only succeeded in making you unshakable. I am authenticating your call this hour, not because your strength is great, but because your persistence in the silence has reached my throne. The winter is over, and the harvest of the chosen is beginning to break through the frost. Walk out of this room not as a survivor, but as a governor of the atmosphere I have entrusted to you. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. You are committed. You are commissioned. You are sent. Do not say amen yet. Stay here. Let the weight of these names settle into the marrow of your bones. The seed has broken the surface, and the territory of your peace is being reclaimed at this very second. The architect's compass is in your hand, and the royal seal is bright upon your forehead. The silence of the house is being replaced by the sound of a promise fulfilled. Now you may say amen. What has been sealed within you in this moment will be tested the very first Monday morning, when the alarm clock rings, when the routine rushes back, when the voice of the old cycle tries to reread what happened today as nothing more than a passing emotion of a Sunday night. The enemy does not accept without a fight the royal seal that has just been decreed over your house. And the sentinel, who was commissioned without an instrument, walks into the open field without what Solomon left recorded exactly for this hour. The exception was opened in the heavens today. Now that exception must survive the common day. The Code of Solomon's wisdom is in the first pinned comment right below this video, not as a substitute for what you received in this message, but as a companion to defend the seal that was placed upon your forehead, because a decree without an instrument rots on the first Monday morning. And the adversary, the one who wants your peace to leak through the cracks of your fatigue, he is counting on Monday. It is less than a Starbucks coffee in the afternoon. It is less than a Saturday afternoon snack. It comes with a guarantee of 7 days and the 2 bonus instruments that stay with you even if you decide it isn't for you. The ritual of the righteous, sleep and the awakening of clarity stay with you. The risk is ours. The hand is yours. Click now while the decree is still burning alive in your chest. Not tomorrow, not after your shower, not after you talk to someone. Because those who leave it for later leave it for never, and the adversary counts on the later. He has already counted on the later in every other message you received and postponed. He is counting on the later right now. This will not be one of those times. And now the last word. There is someone in your circle carrying exactly the same heavy chest you carried until today. Someone who is going to walk through their front door tonight, discharging the same weight of the silent dinner, because they haven't deciphered the signal. Someone who is going to lay their head on the pillow with the same burning alarm ringing in their soul. This person will not stop scrolling on their own. They need someone to send the royal seal to their house. That someone is you. This is not sharing a video. It is an act of intercession. Now close your eyes, take 3 deep breaths, and remain in silence until the video ends. What was done here needs to land. Do not scroll. Do not leave. Stay.